Hi guys, so today I'm going to teach you a really awesome trick called gradient coloring. So a gradient is when one color slowly blends into another color, and it's a really cool trick to know. I do it all the time. It immediately makes your artwork look so impressive. So to learn that trick, I'm going to teach you how to do a realistic bee and how to draw a realistic butterfly. So both of these projects are going to use pencil crayons to do the little gradient details, and then we'll use Sharpie or black marker on top of that. The first drawing I'm going to show you is how to do a realistic bee. And you might be able to tell that I am actually doing this on a small piece of paper because the coloring technique we're going to learn takes a bit of time, so it's nicer to do it on a smaller area. Okay? So first I'm going to find the middle of my page and I'm going to make a circle. Then above that circle, I'm going to make the head by just doing this kind of rainbow shape connecting to it. And on top of the head, I'm going to add two eyes on either side. I'm going to do that same technique, that little rainbow curve coming out of the circle. And then I'm going to add the antennas. So I'm going to make two lines coming from between the eyes. And then I'm going to make a little curve and change directions just slightly so that it almost looks like there's a bend in the middle. So now I've got my head and my thorax, so now I'm going to do the abdomen. And so for this one, I'm going to try to make it look more like an oval shape, and it's going to be a little bit bigger than the thorax. Then I'm going to add curved lines on the abdomen to show the stripes of a bee. Start on one side, and I'm kind of going to follow this curved line. And at the end, I'm going to add a little stinger. So you can just make that a straight line if you'd like. I put two little curved lines instead. Either one's fine. So now we're going to add the wings. So we're going to go to the middle and we're going to make a straight line just about like that. Not all the way to the edge because we still need our wings to go out a little bit further than that. And I'm going to mirror the exact same thing on the other side. So these wings are symmetrical. So that means I want them to look the same. So as far as this line goes on this side, I want that line to go the same distance on this side. Now I'm going to move a little bit above that line and I'm going to go out on a diagonal and then come back to meet that middle line. So I'll show you what I mean. Watch first. Up on a diagonal, curve and down. Okay, I'm going to do the exact same thing over here. So where my line starts, I'm going to take a step above. I'm going to go out on a diagonal, curve and come down. And remember, I'm trying to keep these the same. If they don't end up to be perfectly symmetrical, no big deal. I'm sure there are bees flying around with different sized wings. That happens in nature, but just do the best you can. Now I'm going to make this wing a little bit wider by adding the bottom part. So I'm going to start right about here, and I'm just going to go down and in. Down and in. Same thing on this side. Down and in. Okay. Now my last step is to add their feet or legs, and all insects have 6 legs. So we're going to fit 2 of them up here in between the head and the wings, and then we're going to fit 2 of them down here. Okay. So the first ones, they're going to come out kind of like the letter V. So in between the wing and the head, I'm going to make a line going like that. Just a little bit past the head. Same thing on the other side. And then I'm going to make them change directions just like we did with the antennas so that you can kind of see where their almost elbow is. And so we're just going to go straight up and stop. If you really want to make these look realistic, you could add their little kind of hands on. And now we're going to add our bottom 2 sets of legs. So I need to fit 2 in here. So I'm trying to keep that in mind. So I'm just going to do 2 lines this way to start off my legs. I'll do the same thing on this side. And then just like these ones, we're going to switch directions so you can see their little almost elbow. And so we're going to go straight down, down, down. Same thing on this side, down, down. If you want to add their little hands, you can. All right, and then we would be ready to color. So the second drawing that we're going to learn is a realistic butterfly. So a butterfly has 3 body parts, just like a bee, because it is also an insect. So we are going to start with the head, then we'll draw the thorax, and then the abdomen. And these 3 body parts are going to be stacked on top of each other, kind of like a skinny snowman. So I'm going to start not in the middle, but maybe a little bit higher, and I'm going to draw a circle for the head. Now for the thorax, I'm going to make it a little bit longer, a little bit more shaped like an oval. Just like that. And then for the abdomen, same thing, but it's going to get even longer. There. So now we have the 3 body parts of our butterfly. I'm going to add 2 antennas with little curved lines. And I'm going to put little nubs on the end, little circles. And now we can add our wings. So I'm going to go to the thorax, which is the middle body part. And I'm going to draw a straight line out about there. So I'm still leaving some room on the end because my wings are going to go a bit past that. And because butterfly wings are symmetrical, I need to do the exact same thing on the other side. So my butterfly wing is actually going to start right about here. So not on the head, still on the thorax, but it's going to come out a diagonal, go around, and come back to join that line. So watch first and then you can try. So diagonal past the head, around, and come to join that line. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, trying to keep them as symmetrical as possible, but it's okay if it's not perfect. So past the head on a diagonal, around, and back to that line. Okay. So I'm going to do the bottom part of the wing. So I'm going to do about the same technique, but I'm going to pass the abdomen this time and come up to join that line. And the bottom part of the wing is not quite as big as the top, so I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. So I'm going to start again at the thorax, pass the abdomen, around and back. Pass the abdomen, around and back. Okay, and so now we're ready to add our color. So the most important part of this art video is I want to teach you how to color in a gradient. So that means that one color slowly blends into another color. So I've got 3 colors that go together. So I need to arrange them either from darkest to lightest or in rainbow order. So rainbow order, red, orange, and then yellow. And it also kind of goes dark to light. Okay, so I'm going to start with my first color, and I'm going to start by coloring hard. So I'm going to push hard on the pencil crayon so it's nice and bright and opaque. Okay, then as I move down the line, I want to color lighter and lighter and lighter. So I'm going to color a little bit lighter here, a little bit lighter even. So I'm just putting less weight on my hand so that it gets lighter and lighter and lighter. You can see more of that paper poking through. So that itself is already a gradient. It goes from dark to light, but I want to blend in a new color. So here's how I do it. Now I'm ready to switch. So I can grab my next color. And I'm not going to start coloring here because then it won't blend together. So I'm actually going to go back and color over top of where I colored lightly. And then you can see that the 2 colors start to kind of blend together. You can't really see where the red stops and the orange starts. It just gradually blends. And so now I'm going to do the exact same thing with my orange. I'm going to color lighter and lighter and lighter as I move so that I can blend it into the yellow. So I put a little bit of less weight on, but I'm still pushing pretty dark when I'm this close to my orange. Then I get a little bit lighter, a little bit less weight on my hand, a little bit lighter, a little bit lighter. And that's how I'm gonna get that gradient. Okay, so now that I have that blend going, I can grab my next color. And do I start here? No, because then they won't be blended together. I have to start over top of the last color. So I go back to where I started to get lighter with that orange, and I'm going to color on top with my yellow. And if I'm not blending to another color, I can just end it here. If I was going to keep going, maybe blend into a green, then I would do that same technique, but since I'm ready to stop, I can just color hard with my yellow pencil crayon. And that is how you get a nice, neat gradient. So here is what not to do. We don't want to color hard. Color light. And then start at the end of where that lightness is. I've seen kids do this a couple times, and you'll see you don't get that same technique. It does not look blended. So what you need to do is when you grab that next color is to start back on top of it. That way you'll get this nice smooth gradient. So for both of these insects, I'm going to use pencil crayon to do the gradient coloring, and then I'm going to use a black marker or Sharpie to add the other details. So I picked out my colors for my bee. I'm going to be using brown, orange, and yellow. And remember, you need to arrange them so that they go from dark to light. Okay. And then for my butterfly, I've picked out a dark blue, a teal, and green. Okay. So I'm going to start with the bee. Now I'm only going to color every second line yellow because the other ones I'm going to fill in black so that we have that same pattern. So what I'm going to do to really make it look 3D is I'm going to start with brown on the edges and then move to orange and have yellow in the middle. That way it'll really look 3D, like it's sticking off the page. So I'm going to start by coloring dark on the edge, and then remember to slowly take the weight off of your hand so that it gets lighter, 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 lighter. I'll do the same thing on this side. And then I'll skip a line because that one's going to be black, and I'll do the next one. Start pushing hard and then get lighter, lighter, lighter. Lighter, lighter, lighter. Okay, now I can switch to my next color. Do I start coloring here? No way. Go all the way back and color over what you've already done. That way it slowly blends together and get lighter, lighter, lighter. I want most of it to be yellow, so I don't want to go too far with my orange and brown. Same thing on the bottom, color over top of the brown first, and then get lighter, lighter, lighter by pushing not quite so hard. And then I can take my last color, and I can just push nice and hard to blend these all in now. Wow, how cool is that? Totally looks 3D. This looks like a professional bee. Holy smokes, if you do this coloring, you're gonna impress a lot of people. So I'm gonna actually do the same thing for the thorax. And the thorax on a bee is actually really fuzzy. So I am going to do kind of the same technique. I'm going to start with brown, but I'm going to do kind of a zigzag coloring to make it look fuzzy. And go all the way around the edge. And get a little bit lighter as I move in. Not pushing as hard. I'm going to switch to orange. And last is yellow. Okay. Wow, that looks so cool. It almost looks like it's glowing from the middle. And then most of these other details are going to be black. I'm going to add a little bit of shading to the wings. So I'm just going to use blue, maybe a tiny bit of gray, and I'm just going to really, really lightly shade. I don't want them to be all the way blue, so I'm just barely pushing on my pencil crayon as I make these kind of shadows for the wings. Okay, and so the rest, yeah, I'm gonna do with Sharpie. So I will set that aside for now, and I'm gonna focus on my butterfly. So my butterfly, I'm only gonna color the wings, and I want to blend it from dark blue from the center, and then slowly get to teal, and then to green at the end. And I'm actually going to add some more details with my black Sharpie by splitting up the space. So you'll see what I mean at the end. So I'm going to use Sharpie, but you can definitely just use a black marker if you don't have Sharpie. I'm going to start with a B. So I'm going to color in the spaces. I'm actually going to outline my entire B. And you could add some more details to the wings if you'd like. I'm just going to leave them for now because I'm kind of going to do the same thing on my butterfly. So I'll show you how to do that as well. So first we'll start by outlining everything just like we did the bee, and then we'll fill in the body parts, and then I'll show you a cool way to add more detail to your wings if you would like. So I'm going to add some details to the wings similar to a monarch butterfly, and so we're going to split up the space. So first I'm going to make a big long teardrop shape that almost goes to the end. So I'll start at the thorax, go up, teardrop, and back to a point. Same thing on this side, trying your best to keep it symmetrical, but like I said, it's okay if it's not perfect. Okay, so now I am going to make curved lines coming from that teardrop out to the edge of my wing. Same thing on this side, curving the other way. Okay, and then for this space here, I'm going to draw some circles and then fill in the rest of the space black. On the bottom part here, I'm going to just do 2 of those teardrop shapes and then some of those circles. So starting here, teardrop and teardrop. Couple circles and fill it in. So there we have our 2 finished insects with gradient coloring and some Sharpie details. Now I think these insects look amazing. I could definitely frame these or put these up as a work of art, but the most important thing that I want you to take from this video is learning how to do that gradient coloring. Like I said, I use it all the time. It's very calming, it's very relaxing, and it's a really cool trick to make any artwork instantly look spectacular.